We like you, so we'll share with you.
Is there like a database where you can see what schools and places got what grants, or?
It's called the internet. So you go on and you do like .edu and you put in Title III and you look at what schools have proposals for Title III online. There are also databases in the grant writing world. Like you could go look up the Kirkpatrick Foundation in a database that's online. You could find out who they gave to, like what other schools in Oklahoma or are they giving in Arkansas. So you know that's a bang for your buck thing. You don't want to waste your time writing something to a foundation that's not going to fund you in Oklahoma for a certain type of project. You want to find a funder who wants to shake hands and work together with you on that particular project. Yeah.
So let's just say you don't get this grant. Where do you go from there?
I think we go back to our consultants and we say, we look at the comments from the readers and we say, what did we miss it on and how much did we miss it by and can we still revise and do a good grant?
Okay.
And then we go for it again. I mean,
it's not like you just have to restart all of that.
Hopefully not. You know, anytime, like with Title III, there's a format to it, so whatever you stick in the format, you've already learned the format, right?
Okay.
Is there like a certain amount of time before you can resubmit?
No, not with this program. I mean, that's all different depending on which one you're doing. My husband works for the state of Oklahoma. He's an attorney, and he works with the distribution of federal monies coming into the state. He works with a lot of grant stuff. He says, you might as well apply if you have a shot because somebody is going to get the money. And if you don't apply, the one thing you know is it won't be you. So the statistics, I mean, you get different statistics. I'd say, from what I've read, usually people can expect to get 1 in 3. This is not the sort of thing where you can be a perfectionist and kick yourself if it didn't work. You know, you do the best you can, and you pray for good readers and sensible people looking at it, and that's about all you can do. So there is that little element of risk, which makes it kind of exciting when you do get it. It's like eBay, you know. I got it for $10.99. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say, just on the audience, obviously, it's collaborative writing, it's competitive writing, because you know you're competing against other people writing. So just like when you do resumes and they say don't make any spelling errors because if you do, they'll throw them in the trash. And the other competitors' resumes will rise to the top. Don't do dumb stuff in a grant. Make sure it adds up, blah, blah, blah. It's very compliance-oriented. In other words, you have to write to their number of words, section, what they mean by certain words. So a lot of your research is about just the parameters of the assignment. And that's not where the creativity is, except thinking also that you don't want yours just to sound like everybody else's. It's got to look enough like everybody else's they can tell that you know what you're doing, but there's got to be something about it that is memorable. Like, that's the school that proposed. Like, when people look at your resume or your CV, that's the person who did that class in blah, blah, blah. Make you stand out a little bit.
Shakespeare.
From all the others. Yeah. Real estate is very much an issue that you've got a limited amount of space, and where are you going to put where, and how are you going to maximize your space, and that's where the charts and the figures come in. Ability to use technology is very, very important. And then one of the other things, if you do get a grant like this, then you've got to worry about making sure that you're accountable for it. So there are all the reports that have to go in every year, the records that have to be kept. And I noticed on your Lowe's grant, there's some sort of thing you have to send in. If you get it, you do the project and then you send something in for it, and that's very typical before you try. It's a great little project you guys are working on. It doesn't take a lot of time, but think what it could do for the school that you're working with if you got that grant.
So, it's a kind of an odd question, but what do the people that give grants do if, say, they give someone a grant and then they didn't follow through on what they said the money was for? Is there, like, do they have to sign contracts and then the people can get their money back, or?
Yes, I mean, that could be the case that you have to pay the money back. On a federal grant, they could do that to you, or they could put you in jail.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's a private foundation, they won't ever give you money again
Right.
in your lifetime, and your, I mean, there's an institutional reputation at stake, because you want to do a good job on your grant, because these people who give money know other people who give money, and they hang out together and they talk to each other. So it's like, well, if you give money to these people, they'll do a good job with it.
Is there a difference between like academic grants and scholarships? Like, have you done that?
No, it's not. There are foundations that will let people write grant proposals to bring scholarships to their institution for students.
Well, like you hear
Is
about,
that what you're saying?
like,
You could,
you hear about people applying for grants for like grad school or something. Is there a difference between that and then like just a scholarship?
generally, yes, in the sense that it's not a grant for a program, it's a grant for you. Like the graduate school at KU where I went had a program like that, and it was an application for an individual grant.
Right.
So it was just to help me have enough money to go to graduate school.
But I guess I don't see why that's different than like a scholarship.
A grant on an individual basis, probably the way you establish eligibility for it would be different. A scholarship, you have to have a certain GPA and maybe a certain major, and they are going to give out a certain number. And a grant is you have to make the case for it.
Okay. That makes sense.
And you can get grants for specific research projects
Right,
too.
so it's not
So it's
just for
funding a
tuition.
project rather
Okay.
than just a scholarship
Right.
for you to go to school for a year or something like
Right.
that.
So could you like apply for an individual grant, say you wanted to go overseas and do studying
Yeah.
at a different university?
Yes.
Like
Something like
Fulbright, that's the kind of thing
Exactly.
that they do.
Exactly. So Fulbright uses the term grant. Rhodes Scholarship uses the term scholarship. They're very similar programs, and I think those kinds of enterprises where an individual would approach an entity and ask for money for not a unique project, but usually to further education in some way, are probably considered different from this idea of a project-oriented type grant. But it's the same thing. It's money you don't have to pay back, which is the best kind. Right? Sell your brain, all that good stuff. Anyway, it's been an interesting field to learn about. I have not had time to delve too far into the professional community of grant writing, except as it's served my needs to get these things done, because I do other things for a living. And I do have a little bit of a life that most people think I don't. But wherever you end up, if you're in school for the rest of your life, teaching or researching or going to graduate school, if you're in a corporation, there's probably going to, if you're in a church or a community organization that's needing to seek money, the ability to say, I have the skills and I'm willing to take some initiative to see if we can find some grant money to help with the project is really huge.
How long have you been doing it?
About 10 years.
Do you like have students that help you, like assistants and stuff, or do you have like professional assistants or anything like that?
No, it's kind of one-stop shop here. And it's not, like the big grants that we looked at, you can't do that alone.
Yeah.
You've got committee meetings, you've got people in other offices on campus who have expertise that they're contributing. You do get some people to do parts of it, like the research part, and email it back to you or whatnot. So you have to be able to do that project management piece as well. It's very interesting, and it's one of the things I like about it is that if you have a really good idea that would help your organization, there's probably somewhere you could go to get some money behind it. And who's going to turn down free money if you get it? I mean, you can really help an organization by bringing in that kind of money if you're strategic about the types of projects you go for.